Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, Beth Chats Books. Now today is going to be an April book haul / library book haul. Now since I moved back into Preston and moved back into my dad's house, I set up a library card a few months ago and then for some bizarre reason I just didn't start using it. I think that's because I did a big book depository book haul and I wanted to get through those books, and I still have so many books in this house. I have a big box of books at the moment. It's being kept in the garage, and so it's very hard to visualise which books I want to read next because they're all in storage, because we're eventually getting a bookshelf, but we haven't got around to doing that at the moment. So I keep forgetting what books I have and I don't want to keep rummaging in there at the moment until I've got the bookshelf and I can start going through everything with a fine-tooth comb. So anyway, what happened was I finished Exit West today and I really wanted to read some new books, and I thought to myself, I've been watching a lot of library book hauls and other things on BookTube, and I suddenly had this pang of guilt because I have a library card which gives me access to free books and I'm just not using it. So today me and my boyfriend had a few other things that we wanted to do in town, so I said it's a perfect opportunity to go in and have a look. So I found 4 books that I'm really interested in and that I checked out. So without further ado, let's get into my April library book haul. So the first book I want to show you is Burial Rites by Hannah Kent. Now this went round BookTube a good year, maybe 2 years ago. I remember the hype. I was definitely besotted and in love with BookTube by then, and this book came out as a really hyped book. I know that she's also written The Good People, which was next to this in the library, so I thought I would start with this one, which I think was her first, and then if I like it, read her second one. I can't remember too much about this, but I remember that it was really intriguing. And I'll read you the blurb just in case anybody didn't know what this book was about. So, Northern Ireland, 1829. A woman condemned to death for murdering her lover, a family forced to take her in, a priest tasked with absolving her. But all is not as it seems and time is running out. Winter is coming and with it the execution date. Only she can know the truth. This is Agnes's story. So that sounds completely up my alley. I love a good murder. Did she do it? Did she not? I kind of like execution stories as well. That sounds really brutal, but things like that really fascinate me. So I'm sure I'm going to love this, but I really want to know if any of you have read this. Did you like it? Did you not? And would you recommend this? I am going to read it, but I just wanted to know whether you guys bought the hype, whether it was worth the hype or whether it wasn't. I'd be interested to know. And then the next book I picked up was The PostBirthday World by Lionel Shriver. Now Lauren from Lauren in the Books, a good few months ago, maybe up to a year ago, I can't remember, all video watching kind of conglomerates into one big blur to me. But I'll link it down below if I can find it. She did a library haul a while ago and took this book out, and she really enjoyed it and it made me really interested. I do have We Need to Talk About Kevin somewhere in my house. I think it's in that big giant red box, and so it was out of sight, out of mind, unfortunately for me. But I do know that I was going to read it and then another book gave me a spoiler to it, and so I put it off because I basically wanted to bury it in the box so that I can forget about it, so that I can actually read it without remembering the plot twists. So I thought I would start with this one because this one is from multiple perspectives about this event. I'm really butchering what I want to say, so I'll just read the blurb for you. Irene McGovern's destiny hinges on a single kiss. Whether she gives in to its temptation will determine whether she stays with her reliable partner Lawrence or runs off with Ramsay, a hard-living snooker player. Employing a parallel universe structure, Shriver spins Irina's competing futures with 2 drastically different men. An intellectual and fellow American, Lawrence is clever and supportive but rigid and emotionally withdrawn. A British celebrity, Ramsay, is passionate and spontaneous but jealous and undereducated. Their contrasting characters will colour her other relationships, her careers and the texture of her daily life. If love is always about trade-offs, if every romantic prospect is flawed, how can we ever know whom to choose? So I think that's fascinating. That's what I meant by a multiple perspective. It's 2 parallel universes, 2 options. Does she kiss? Does she not kiss? And then the consequences of that. So that sounds really interesting, and the fact that Lauren really enjoyed it made me think it's totally worth giving it a go. It's a lot thicker than I expected though, so I think it will take me a lot longer to get through, but I'm pretty sure in Lauren's review she mentioned that it was very fast paced and easy to get into. So again, if you've read this, please let me know what you thought of it in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And then the next book, I literally picked this up just as I was about to go to the checkout to take the books out, because it struck my attention because I have seen this before quite recently on BookTube and I'm pretty sure it's on the Bailey's long list or short list. I'll just link down below. It's on the Bailey's list, and that is Psyched by Jessie Greengrass. Now I saw this going around, and it was one that, because the cover is so beautiful, it caught me straight away. Right in the corner near the exit, it was new releases, new reads, so I thought, wow, that's amazing, the library has a book that is being hyped now, and so I wanted to pick it up. I don't really know much about it, so I'll read you the blurb. In Sight, a woman recounts her progress to motherhood while remembering the death of her own mother and the childhood summers she spent with her psychoanalyst grandmother. Woven among these personal recollections are significant events in medical history. Wilhelm Röntgen's discovery of the X-ray and his production of an image of his wife's hand, Sigmund Freud's development of psychoanalysis and the works that he did with his daughter Anna, John Hunter's attempts to set surgery on a scientific footing and his work as a collaborator with his brother William and the artist Jan van Rijmsdijk on the anatomy of pregnant bodies. What emerges is the realisation that while the search for understanding might not lead us to an absolute truth, it is an end in itself. And that sounds absolutely amazing. I love the concept of motherhood. This kind of resonates with me because I studied Freud, and my dissertation was on Freud and his relationship to women in regards to his own daughter Anna, who ends up working and producing works within psychoanalysis and other women, and his theories and how they weren't that centred around women and motherhood. So this kind of sounds really fascinating to me. Everything in that blurb just completely hooked me. I'm really excited that the library had this. So I checked it out, and it's also pretty short. So I'm hoping that I can get to this really as soon as possible. So there's that one. And then the last book that I picked up was Anna Broluck's, sorry if I said that wrong, Barkskins. Now this was raved about for a while. I think this was on last year's Bailey's list. I'm pretty sure it was on the Bailey's list last year. I don't think it made it to the short list. I think it was on a long list. One thing that scares me a little bit is it's an absolute chunker of a book. It's massive, and the font is pretty small in this as well, so I think if I enjoy it I will have to renew it multiple times. But I remember that this got a lot of hype when it was nominated, and then it just kind of dissolved into the big wider booktube community and was never really spoken of again. So I saw it, and I remember that I always was really interested to pick this up. So I'm going to read you the blurb. That transported from the Paris slums, two young Frenchmen arrive in the wilds of 17th century New France to work as woodcutters, as Barkskins. In a novel that spans continents and centuries, Prowl tells the story of Sel and Dunquet's descendants, healers and businesswomen, Native Americans and missionaries, and of the part they play in the creation of America and the destruction of the world's forests. So it sounds really interesting. I am very intimidated by this book, but I would love to know if any of you read it, whether you've enjoyed it or not, whether it is worth the investment, because it certainly is going to be an investment of time to finish this. But I love stories that span across different continents and different people's stories. I recently read Homegoing by Yaa Nassi, and I loved that book, and I loved how that spanned different generations, different continents, different stories with an overarching theme. So I'll be interested to see if I enjoy this, and I definitely will let you guys know how I get on with this. So that was everything for my April library book haul. I just want to say, for any of you who want to try out your local libraries and you're worried that there won't be any fiction that you're interested in, I just want to reassure people, I was the person that had the perspective that my library would have nothing in it, that it would have fiction I wasn't interested in, and I was pleasantly surprised today. What I would recommend is if you go to the library, make sure you allot yourself quite a bit of time so that you can peruse the shelves at your own pleasure and at your own pace. In the library that I went into today, which is the biggest library in Preston, it had graphic novels, crime section, non-fiction, fiction all the way from A to Z. It had a lot of great books here that I was so surprised that I was able to find. So sometimes it's just about taking the time to find the gems, but this has really changed my opinion on getting hauls from the library, of reading from the library, and how easy it was to obtain these books and to find them was fantastic, because a lot of these books are books that I wouldn't want to pay full price for because I'm not sure if I'll enjoy them or not. But books are free at the library, it's incredible. Books that are massive. Barkskins is over 800 pages, it's completely free for you to read. So I just wanted to do a little gush and say that if you don't use your library, please do. It takes 5 minutes, just go into your library and ask to sign up, they'll give you a card. Most libraries will let you take 6 books out at a time, maybe a little bit less. But you can take out graphic novels, you can take out whatever you want, you can take out audiobooks. So I think there is something there for everyone. And if you're watching this channel, you're obviously interested in books. So if you haven't, just give it a go, it might surprise you. So anyway, rant over. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit the subscribe button if you want to be alerted for when any of my future videos come out. And I'll be back with you very soon with a brand new video. Bye now.